Hi everyone, so I know that it's been a long time since I posted a video, and I didn't want to start with a favorite things of the last year type video because I felt like that was a little too expected. I was thinking of something a little bit more, I don't know, that I guess I had more of an emotional investment, so to speak. And I feel like I wasn't really sure whether to talk about. I was thinking like best and worst metalhead experiences. But to be honest, I don't really have much to say in terms of like being to shows and things like that. It's more that I've been thinking about. It's more of, I guess, daily interactions that I have found and that I have found interesting. I'm sure a lot of you have very similar experiences. I do have a lot of positive experiences going to shows specifically. There was a time where, for example, Megadeth came to my hometown, and that was kind of unexpected, really, because bigger bands don't really go to our hometown. I guess another positive that I can think of is online interactions, which are not necessarily positive either. Someone's dog is whining outside. I'm sorry if you can hear that. But there was this time when someone saw my video about, I guess I have two videos about it, but in case you don't know, I made these videos like talking, and I guess I was trying to make like this nuanced discussion about this association, I guess, between death metal and misogyny. And what's really interesting, and I didn't understand it at the time. At the time, I was like really like racking my brain trying to understand why one video had a completely different response than another. Because one of my videos is titled "In Defense of Death Metal," yada yada, and the other one is called "Revisiting Death Metal and Misogyny," or something like that. And the second video had way more aggressive responses. For a long time, I just couldn't understand why people acted so much more offended by one video than the other when they were basically the same concept. One was just like the continuation of the next. And sometimes the answers are so simple, right? Sometimes you think there must be something deep and complex to explain this, and there isn't. It landed on me eventually that the only reason people had a different response is because the first video made it clear from the title that I was defending death metal, and the second video was a little bit more ambiguous, like you could go either way. And I guess a lot of people, for one, didn't watch the actual video. They just read the title, saw the thumbnail, saw that I was a woman who was talking about misogyny, and immediately assumed that I had no interest in defending metal, and therefore went to say all this shit on the comment section. And it's really interesting to see, but it is true, right? When you expect a video to say things that you disagree with, you will not really give it any chances. Sometimes some people do anyway, don't, I mean, which I totally understand, right? But at the same time, why do you have to comment on that video when you didn't watch it? You may think you know what the video says, but you probably don't. But my point here is that that same video actually had someone, I think he was also a content creator, and he like shared that video to other people, and he told me that he liked it. I think he tagged me on a post on Instagram or something like that, and that he liked the fact that there were these discussions, and you know, I really appreciated it, not just the sharing, which is of course good, but also the fact that I could feel like someone actually understood what I was trying to say, or someone didn't immediately assume the worst of me without even watching the video. And of course, the main thing, I guess, that has happened to me through, you know, dressing a certain way, or, you know, showing in some way that I listen to metal, is making a few friends. And I don't have that many. I mean, I'm not really kind of person. I've never been the kind of person to have a bunch of friends, but I have made a few, and there have been good and bad, I guess, people that I have stopped talking with that I just don't find very pleasant to be around, and friends that I just find to be very, the opposite, that I find really nice to be around, that they are very easy to hang out with and to have like conversations with. And the thing is, what's interesting about making friends with people via music is that a lot of the times you don't even end up talking about music. You end up talking about anything but music, right? Because I feel like, I guess that's something that you already have in common, so you're like looking for other things that you have in common. I'm not sure why, but I would argue that's probably the case. So as for my worst experiences, I mean, I've already gone about the videos that I posted and the responses that I've gotten, and there's way more where that comes from. I mean, I posted a video, one of my rankings of Iron Maiden albums. I had Fear of the Dark on the last place, which I understand a lot of people love that album and I get it, but to me it's just like nothing really that special. And like, let's be honest here, like there's gonna be an album that's gonna be at the bottom. Like, you cannot have blank space at the bottom, like, oh, because that's no, like something is gonna be at the last. I remind myself this time that I was like in early teens or something, and I was like looking through the fridge for something, and I was like, my dad told me like, oh, it's at the back, and I'm like, why is it at the very back? And he's like, something has to be at the very back, and I'm like, something has to be at the bottom, right? Like, it's a ranking, that's kind of how it works. It's not me saying that Fear of the Dark is 4 out of 10 or it's a 3 out of 10 or even a 7 out of 10. Like, I just don't think I think it's, out of their albums, I think it's the worst one, to be honest. Like, there are always people who take it too seriously. And there was also this weird experience that I had that, I mean, I've spoken about this before, but I once had a boyfriend who, he wasn't a metalhead, and like he kinda was a little mean about it. Like, he acted as if there was like no way, and this is a common experience I feel with metalheads, particularly if you don't look the type, I guess. People don't believe that you actually listen to that music. I have a short, a YouTube short where I kind of like imply that, I guess. People don't believe that you actually listen to that. There's no way you actually listen to that. Like, why? I think it's kind of like, I feel like that's particularly disrespectful to say. I mean, for you to imply that I lie about what I listen to. I mean, I may not, I'm not gonna pretend that I don't judge other people's music taste, okay? But I don't doubt that you actually like that music, at the very least. Like, I'm sure you do. I don't like it, but like, I'm sure you listen to it. Why wouldn't I take you at your word? It's just such a strange response to, like, I guess I know that, people find it hard to understand that other people don't, live their lives the way they do and like the same things they do. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's like such an, it's meaner than it may seem, I guess, as a response. There was this time that I was on the street and I was wearing this backpack that I have here. I'll show it to you, actually. I have it right beside me. And you can see here I have the Cryptopsy logo. Of course, I'm wearing a Cryptopsy shirt. I have a bunch of other patches, Creator, Sisters of Mercy, yada yada, Ex Japan here, and you can see the death patch here, right? And Dark Tranquility also on the strap. And this guy who, like, he's coming from behind me, right? He's walking on the street, and this is daytime and all, so I didn't feel like weird or anything. It was just, I mean, it was weird, but I didn't feel unsafe. That's what I mean. He comes from behind and he's like, oh, death. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, and it was like a friendly, it was initially friendly, I guess. And he goes, oh yeah, that's a band. And I'm like, yes, it is a band. But he didn't even allow me to even say anything. He started talking. He asked me a question. I remember that he said something like, oh, do you actually listen to them? And I was about to answer, but he interrupts me and he goes, yeah, I don't either, yada yada yada. And he starts talking and talking, and I let him talk, and I let him talk, and I let him talk. And then once he's done talking, I'm like, I've been listening to them since I was like 12. And it's funny, he mentioned a bunch of songs of them that I guess he thought I hadn't listened to because he assumed I didn't know who they were and that I was just wearing the patch. He was like, oh, zero tolerance, you know, within this and that and the other, you know, other songs. And I was like, yes. But I couldn't bring myself to interrupt him because I was like, you're making an ass of yourself. And I guess he probably didn't want to seem rude, right? But why do you ask that question and then you don't let me answer? Another like annoying, I guess, experience that I had once was actually at school. I was wearing my Celtic Frost shirt. It was a long sleeve like this. Well, I still have it actually. I can show it on a picture. And this guy, like, he didn't even go in my class. He was just around, and he was like, yeah, you're like a Satanist or something, aren't you? And he wasn't joking. He was like actually like angry. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, that shirt you're wearing, like, you're trying to I remember him accusing me. This was quite a few years ago, but he acted like I was like trying to get a rise out of him just by wearing the shirt. And I'm like, it's a band that I like. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And he acted like there's no way. Again, this same response of like, there's no way, you must be doing this to piss me off. Like, I don't even know who you are. Why would I do it to piss you off? I don't know who you are. I don't care what you think. Like, you're not that important in my life. I mean, I've never seen you before. It's one of those things that it's like, why would you assume anything but the more obvious thing, that is, I like this band and I listen to this music, right? Anything but the most obvious, like, explanation, I guess, to what you're seeing that you don't understand, I guess. And yeah, I remember him acting like he was, like, I was trying to piss him off. Or, you know, not him, I guess, personally, but like piss people off. Like, I had something against Christians, and it's also one of those things I referenced in that short that I mentioned earlier, like, oh, you must have something against Christianity or something like that. Like, okay, dude. And, you know, something that is actually a pro of sorts that I didn't mention in the first part is that I've never actually been harassed, as far as I can remember. I've never been harassed on the street when I wear any band shirt, metal band shirts anyway, or like goth band shirts, anything like that. I've never been like sexually harassed, you know, anything like that. And I strongly believe that people who do that don't base it on, and this is an idea that a lot of people have to this day, like the year 2025, and like there's still people who think that like you can prevent sexual harassment by dressing a certain way. And specifically what they believe is that if you dress in a more revealing way, that's what invites it. I think actually that what prevents it, if anything, which, let's be honest, I mean, nothing really prevents it, but I think if anything, what prevents it is to look like you're gonna resist, like you're gonna say something back, like you're gonna defend yourself. And I feel like sometimes when you wear a band t-shirt, or you look hard in general, which, let's be honest, I don't look hard, but I feel like if you glance at me and you only see the shirt, I guess I can give you off that impression. But I feel like if you look like you're gonna fight back, they're not gonna say anything, or they're not gonna touch you or whatever. All of the times, every single time that I've been harassed on the street, or that I've been like, you know, touched on the public transport or whatever, I've been wearing like cute core type things, not cute core, but you know, J fashion, like long skirts or like knee-length skirts, things that are like cute and like feminine, precisely the things that some dumbass people still think are what prevent harassment. And it's interesting, right? I mean, it's not really interesting in the sense that like, oh, it's unexpected. Like, I kind of knew, I guess, in my soul. I mean, I'm still gonna wear whatever I want, because like, you can't allow those things to change your forms of self-expression. And that goes as well for the comments that I get from people on the street about the like band shirts or whatever, which again I haven't really gotten that, only from like, I guess, people who like have been closer to me. That guy, who I suppose was a Christian, he was technically not really like on the street because he was inside the school, but you know. And I feel like when I really think about it, I feel like the positive ends up outweighing the negative, even if there's more negative. What I mean is, if I really thought that the negative comments that I've gotten on previous videos were that bad, I won't still be uploading videos. I mean, granted, I rarely ever upload videos, but that's because I don't have a lot of time. I haven't finished writing my dissertation. I recently started working in my actual field of study, so I haven't had a lot of time. Not to make excuses, but what I mean is I haven't stopped uploading because I don't want hate or anything like that. So I hope you got something out of it. I want to read about your own interactions with the public, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!